Welcome back to Writing for Beginners. Today we're going to talk about senses and the sorts of things you should try and think about when you're writing about senses. Of course, everything has a sense. Even if there's not a sense, that in itself is a sense, the absence of a sense, which you can write about as well. So you need to think about if you have something happening in a room or with the individual, but let's start with the room to begin with. Maybe you can talk about some of the things in the room. Now, don't try and write everything. If the floorboards creak and it's an old room, maybe that and a rattling window, or that and a crack in the ceiling with a stained wall is enough to indicate that it's an old room. The same can apply to people. You don't have to write about every sense. Quite often the senses merge into each other. A person smiles, then grimaces, then looks at you in an unusual way, because that's what goes across their face. You don't have to write every single thing that happens. People do, when you're talking to them, may, tap their leg. They may tap their fingers on a table. They may fiddle with their hair. They may do other things. So you can mention these things, but you don't have to mention all of them. What you're trying to do is paint a picture to lead the reader into seeing more. You want your reader to envisage what the person is doing or what the room is like from your details. So focus on the important ones, what you consider important in that room, important to your story. So if you're talking about a room that's aged, maybe that's because the property you're in was something that you're meant to be given and now it's fallen into disrepair or something like that. That's a very basic overview, I know, but maybe something like that. But keep in mind, most importantly, that senses are as important as anything else in the book that you write, whether it be memoir or fiction. You have to write about what's happening to the individual and the location they're in. If they're outside, maybe the leaves rustle with a light breeze, and the sun might be setting, so you're starting to get cool, so you shiver and pull something around your shoulders, but that's enough to indicate that it's cooling. So just keep that in mind. Write the details that matter, but not all the details when you're trying to think about the senses. We will talk about writing about more of the senses, taste, smell, touch, and so on a little later on. But keep it in mind when you're writing that you need to bring people along on your journey, which means you've got to bring them into the room and see how you react. Happy writing.